Hey, what it do, what the business is.
It is another week in the books with the On Deck TV podcast. I am Spike Lou.
Man, holla at your boy Animal Brown, Animal_Brown, if you're looking for me on all things social media.
I am Spike Lou on those same social sites. We appreciate you guys tapping in with us, man. We're in the middle of the summer. It's hot outside.
I got a hoodie on
you got
still.
A hoodie on. It's
Fuck
100 degrees. Welcome to the big show, baby. It's the On Deck TV podcast. How you feeling?
Hey, I feel great, man. We back in the saddle, as you can see.
Yeah, you like it a lot better here.
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
I like the crib too, but I like getting out the house.
Sometimes it's convenient. Sometimes you can throw on little, HBCU T-shirts and hoodies and represent, man. We got a dope show today, man, but I'll let you get into that.
Absolutely, man. Touching on a couple of things, man. We want to talk about the sleeper that dropped over the weekend, that IDK album. We're also going to talk about our guy BG getting denied parole, and we speak with the former president of Roc Nation. Again, the former president of Roc Nation, Benny Pough, about his time with Roc Nation, his time as an executive, what it is that makes a superstar, the whole nine, everything he got going on right now. It's a very dope interview. Make sure you stay tapped in. But first.
Absolutely. But first, before the first.
Go.
How did you, since we're doing another big interview.
Okay.
People always want to know a little bit behind the scenes. Chad, shout out Chad Oubre, man.
Yep.
That interview to me was absolutely fire.
Agreed.
What stood out to you about that interview?
About this one right here?
Chad's.
Oh, Chad.
Chad's, yeah.
Yeah, no, shout out to Chad. I know we talked about that a little bit when we wrapped it up, but just him having a specific goal and specific vision and him locking in.
Absolutely.
He said he's all the way in or he's all the way out, and so that's really hard to do with all these distractions going on. So that is the biggest thing that stood out.
Facts. And the reason I asked, I know we did recap it a little bit there. He's had the baby boy since then. Congratulations.
Hey.
Seen him on IG flexing, enjoying the dad life, man. So that was really dope watching that come to fruition because he was waiting on the little baby when he was here with us, man. So seen him on IG flexing, man. So shout out to him, man. I really enjoyed that interview, and we'll recap the Benny next show.
Absolutely, man. But let's get to these topics at hand. My guy, the sixth god, Drake, was spotted out on a date, a private date, not at a restaurant. He wasn't at Cheesecake Factory. He was at Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium. He rented out the entire stadium, was on a date with a young lady. A lot of people are calling this certified lover boy promo. My question, was this cheap promo or was this just Drake doing Drake things?
This is the best of both worlds, to answer your question. This is Drake doing Drake things. It just so happens that Drake is so fly, his life is album promo. We were talking about this when it first dropped in the group chat. I saw this picture and I immediately said, this is promo. You Drake stans, y'all got mad at me. Y'all thought that I was dissing him, and I'm giving him the ultimate credit. Okay. This may be a regular thing for Drake. It might be. But it looks fly enough for rappers to do it, so it looked like album promo for him. I'm commending the sixth god. One thing about it, you're not going to see J. Cole doing this. None of his contemporaries can do this and make news. And then he knows the right person to do it with. Shout out the young lady and everything that she has going on with her son and Amir Bailey being the number one recruit in his class. Yep. But Drake just know how to play it, man. And I don't think it's a bad thing to say, hey, this is an album promo, because it just so happens I can live my regular life and it can be album promo to you normal ass rap niggas. I get it. I ain't mad at Drake, neither am I dissing him, but this is definitely album promo. You're not getting the flyover from the Miami reporter. You're not doing all of that if you don't expect this to be seen somewhere. But like I said, he's extra like that anyway.
What was he? He was in L.A., right?
He was in L.A., but the reporter who broke the story, I think he's credited in Miami or some shit.
Okay. This is, listen.
And he didn't rent it out. He made a donation to the Dodger Club, and he was able to have access because of his donation.
Oh, okay. That's what we calling it now.
Donations.
These are called donations. All right, fair enough. Listen, it's Drizzy season. All right, the season is upon us. We know the album is coming. It was supposed to drop earlier in the year. The pandemic jackballed all of that.
It's in mixing stages.
He came out and said it's in mixing stages. We already know this is 1,000% album promo. Kudos to whoever it was that took the photo of them eating and turned it into the album cover.
Fire.
That shit was fire.
That shit was fire. Like, can't nobody do that but Drake. Like that's the ultimate flex. I don't even understand why niggas are trying to rebuttal this and say that it's not. If I was Drake, I'd be like, hell yeah. I guess the young lady would be mad.
Possibly. You might have blew her spot up slightly. But it is album promo, though. It is. He knows what he's doing.
And let's be real. Like, real niggas knew what it was once he started showing up at the games.
Exactly.
Like, it wasn't no, man, my mom's super attractive and Drake is right here sitting next to her.
Yeah.
You know shooters are going to shoot.
That's a fact.
Like, my mom has a restaurant in Nashville. Like, she sent me a picture with Drake one time. I was slick hot. Like,
I'm telling you what he was
I
on.
don't know what he said to my mama, dude. Like, I get it as far as shooters shoot, and let's just Drake being Drake, man. Like, this dope.
It's album promo, though.
And it's fire.
Is.
I
Yeah.
like it. Like,
It
no
is.
other team could do that. I feel like that this is one in the few as to where he made a big splash off just being him.
Kendrick can't do that in L.A.?
No.
What?
Kendrick too weird. Kendrick can rent out the Dodgers Stadium and do everything the same, but one, he's married.
And it won't look
and
right.
would be his wife,
It won't hit the
and
same.
people just wouldn't care.
Yeah, it wouldn't hit the same.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Drake is like Drake.
That's true. It wouldn't hit the same.
You know what I'm saying? And even if, like, just to take away from it, adding into her story and her son, like, people know who this is. Nigga, I think he got like 1 million Instagram followers, Amir Bailey do, so
He's
he
shaking
picked
it.
the right one to do it with, too. Like, Drake, very calculated.
He's
Very
shaking it.
calculated guy, man.
That nigga mama's a 10. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Please, let's keep it moving before I say something stupid.
Yeesh. All right, man. So, over the weekend, 3 times I was hit up, and all 3 times these people asked me, hey, Lou, did you listen to that new IDK album? And I couldn't believe it because I didn't think that I'd ever heard of IDK before unless we've discussed him on this show. And I think we did with a quick hit where he was teaching the Harvard class.
Possibly.
But that being said, over the weekend, he dropped an album, and this is the best Kanye West album that I've heard in the last 5 years.
That's nasty.
When you heard that IDK, tell me what you thought Animal Brown, Kanye West stand.
Hey, you know what? This was a sleeper drop. I know we talked about this. You said you're looking for something to drop kind of like how that Tyler did, how it kind of crept up on you. This kind of fits into that category because, number one, the album's fire.
Facts.
Like,
It
I
got
can't
big
even
name
front.
features. Like, it ain't no,
It's
it wasn't no
fire.
bullshit, yeah.
It's a nice project. IDK is from the DMV area. He used to go by JIDK. He switched it up. Now, here's the thing. You and M Extra, shout out to y'all too, y'all brought it to my attention that he sounds like Kanye on this album.
Everybody in the world thinks
I didn't think that until y'all said that, though. No bullshit. I didn't get Kanye vibes at all.
I could have walked out. Nigga, that
I didn't get
sounds just like Kanye West.
Let me explain. Now that y'all say that, I can't unsee it. He sounds exactly like Kanye West, but I knew, here's my thing, though. There's a lot of samples on there. He's repeating a lot of people's bars. I felt he was doing a version of someone else. I just didn't know it was Kanye until y'all pointed it out. With that being said, the album's still fire, but this is Kanye if he didn't have the personality. That's IDK.
I give you that. And that ain't a bad thing, though,
Nah, it's
because
cool.
even listening to this saying, hey, man, you sound just like Kanye West, I didn't think that in a bad way. I didn't think that I'll never listen to this again. This is just like Kanye West. And I would compare it to Game. Like when Game first came
emulate
out,
people.
absolutely, he can emulate people, but he still has a style enough to keep you engaged with him.
Yeah.
And I think IDK is the same thing. Like, it's really, really close to Kanye West.
It's very close.
And I think it would be dope if Kanye worked with him. Like, if he had somebody like that in the satellite that he could mold, and you see a young star like with today's times, but have that Kanye influence, that would be fire. But this kid's all right, man. Like, this project is all right. Like, I was thoroughly impressed by it.
It's
the
very well
IDK
put
kid.
together.
Absolutely. man.
And I'm going to tell you who else he sounded like, though. This is what it gave me.
Okay.
It gave me Section 80 Kendrick, too. Go back and listen to some of them records, bro, and listen to how Kendrick
Facts.
sounded on Section 80. He sounds just like him.
Shout out to Chris Platt, man. I jumped on his IG live. He actually said that this IDK kid has 2 or 3 more albums, and he's doing the same thing. He sound like other people on those. Like, he sound like I can't remember who he said.
I listened to his last project, the IDK and Friends. I listened to that. I listened to the last 2.
It didn't jump out like.
Well, but to be honest, I didn't notice who he sounded like until y'all said something. So maybe I need to run them last 2 back.
I'll do that. Chris, let us know who you said that IDK sounds like, because like I said, I'm interested to see how far he takes this. Game that had a fairly a good career.
Nah, he had a great career.
Yeah, he had a good career with those same things when he came out with his first album. So I look forward to seeing where he go with it.
And it's not like this is a designer trying to sound like few. We're not saying that. It ain't Gorilla Black trying to sound like
dude's
Big.
creative, and that's why it's so dope. Like, it's almost like you listen to this, you like, damn, I wish this was Kanye West. I wish Kanye had stayed on this path and sounded like this now still and didn't do Yeezus and whatever it was that came after that I didn't pay any attention to. And that's, like I say, not to take away from the IDK kid because he's definitely doing his thing, but I just wish this was Kanye West.
You can only go so far sounding like somebody else, though. Your ceiling is limited, even though it is a good project.
He's versatile with it, though.
That's a fact.
He can switch it up. So I look forward to it.
That can be you can have an identity crisis.
Facts. Do you know what IDK stands for?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I'm saying that's what it is.
Not.
That ain't? What the fuck?
It does stand for I don't know in some instances.
The Urban Dictionary.
I had it wrote down somewhere, but the internet fucked up. So
it's clearly I don't know.
Nah, it's intelligently delivering knowledge.
That's trash.
Like that,
that's trash.
You gotta talk to IDK about it, man. I have it before the end of the show.
Oh man. Well, listen. Before y'all go anywhere, man, we've got Benny Pough, former president of Roc Nation, coming up. Very dope interview, man. He's going to tell you how he got to where he is, where he's going, and everything in between.
Fire interview, and it's ignorantly delivering knowledge. IDK.
Skip. Benny Pough time.
Let's go, Ben.
We are back. It's the OndeckTV podcast. It's your man, Animal Brown.
I am Spike Lou, checking back in.
Absolutely, man. I told you we had a special guest in the building today. We've got Benny Pough on deck with us today. Former president of Roc Nation, been in this game for 30 years on the executive tip, seen a lot of things, seen a lot of changes in the game. We wanted to rap with you today, man. We appreciate you being in the building with us, bro.
Yo, thank you so much for having me, man. I love what you guys are doing.
Appreciate
it. Looking real professional in there, man. You know.
Hey, man. People here at Roc Nation, man, we got to put the best foot forward. So we wanted to make sure we were doing that.
Listen, people minimize how far you can go, you know, with presentation, right? Because that's the first thing that people are going to see before you even open your mouth. And what you guys, you know, just the aesthetics and, you know, AB, he got his coif, yo, he all the way tight, beard real. He got his beard real, like, yo,
don't do my ball.
Yo, AB got his, AB said like, AB, like, he looked like he want to wrestle with Rick Ross right now with that beard. Like, but more importantly, I love what you guys are doing. Thank you for having me, and you know, let's get it.
Absolutely,
let's get to it, man. Now we know, man, 30 years plus in the game. You've seen a lot of things. Here's what I want to talk about when it comes to executives in music. Right, there's a couple of household name cats that a lot of people know. I feel like your resume matches up to some of those cats, the L.A. Reids, the all of those cats that people kind of know. What is it about Benny Pough whose resume matches up with them? But like, how do you become as impactful? How do you make your presence felt for those who don't know who you are, but you've got the accolades to go along with anybody?
So I don't want to overstate my contribution in the business because there are some people that are heralded, especially as Black men, as being the greats. And they go from Berry Gordy, right? You have Gerald Busby, you have L.A. Reid, from the executive businessman standpoint. And these are guys who have signed and generated millions of dollars and made global superstars. What I will say, you know, my contribution in the game and why I played how I played is, you know, I could do two things. I could be Jordan or Pippen, right? There was no problem on leading and throw the ball and we're gonna rock and dunk, or like, we're gonna run down and no look pass and I'm gonna score. So ultimately, just knowing how to play your position, when to play your position, when the ball's coming to you, that's what gets you longevity. You know, sometimes cats wanna, you know, step out and they don't even have their sneakers on, right? They don't even have their sneakers on, B.
Absolutely.
And they feel like, you know, it's my time. It's your time when you've actually, you know, have the wins and success and people in anticipation, they coming to see you, right? You're just not a support player. And what I've done over the time is realize how to play my position, how to score, and how to lead championship teams.
I know that's right. Did you have a network of people that were into music, or did you have something pointing you in this direction starting out, or like what made you turn to this and say, you know what, I can do my Jordan or Pippen thing and take the lead in it? What was the start of that?
So early in my career, and when I say my career, I mean my first job was delivering newspapers, which is something kids don't have the luxury or opportunity to do anymore. So I would say anybody who's underage or what does they call it, Gen Z, read up on what newspaper delivery was all about, right? But the practical aspect of it was it taught and trained me on how to manage. So just think about anybody at 11 years old. What were you doing at 11? So at 11, I was figuring out how to negotiate with adults, how to be responsible about money, how to make sure I didn't get beat or robbed by not only people in the streets, but also the people who collect your bread. So my negotiation skills were what was being honed early in my life, and that's what put me on the career path of doing sales. And my background prior to getting into the music business was sales. So that was the early introduction to getting into a rhythm once I got into the music business, because I knew how to engage with folks. I knew how to read the room, read body language, understand when to close. And that's what the music business is, no different than anything else. It's a business. So what happens at times, people think that the music business is some kind of anomaly, like there aren't rules, there aren't profits, there aren't responsibilities. There's people just rap and sing.
Right.
But there's a lot of work and depth and knowledge that has to go into being an executive. So,
And I know
yeah.
you say sales, but that was door-to-door sales, right? That's a whole nother beast.
Oh no, that's an animal, man. And I sold cutlery door to door. I sold fax machines. Like I've prior to crazy stat factoid, prior to engaging in music. So I worked at 8 different companies in the music business. Prior to that, I had 52 jobs.
52
Wow.
jobs.
Absolutely.
Damn. When you start work, you said you started working at 11, and from 11 to
So
getting
I'm
into the
I'm
music
adding. So you like 52? He lying? Nah, you're right.
No, I'm
So
thinking he can't hold
man,
the
I done.
job. No, I'm just
Yo, I've done it all, man. So when you say like, how did you get here?
Uh-huh.
Is how could I not be here? I've been disciplined and trained to do and see everything. From cut grass to, taking care of elderly people. So in everything in the middle. I sold Citibank bank products. I've done it. I've done a host of different things.
So that's a great point that you bring up, because that part, corporate America, it's largely different from what you deal with in the music business. So when you're making that transition and you stop in the door-to-door stuff and you're dealing with, like you said, you started as an intern writing logistics and expense sheets.
Mhm.
How does that conversation change? How do you carry yourself differently? What made you know, oh man, this is legit? I'm in the door. Like this ain't me selling sewing machines door to door anymore.
Well, the product was intangible, but it was tangible in the same time. Someone's career in their artistry is the product, but also there's a physical product at the time with a CD, vinyl, etc. Realizing that the ability to change people's lives from 0 to 12 weeks, because think about what a social moment is now, where you can go viral in a nanosecond and become a star. That process might have been 12 weeks to become a star with the same kind of mechanisms, right? All relative for the time. So to go through the system to become a superstar or have massive success, if you had, obviously things got to line up. You got to have talent, got music, all of that. But the system you could go through and potentially, be on your way in 3 months. Now you literally can go that fast as far as exposure, not talent.
One clip.
One clip can change the whole game.
And I let you get to it in just a second. You said 12 weeks. What's the price tag on that? Like, what's the price tag if you turn in an artist from 0 to nothing in 12 weeks? How much money is associated with that if you're being for real with it?
So different time, different economics. I mean, there's stars that have happened for less than six figures. There's stars that have happened for seven figures.
Mm-hmm.
Less than six is 100,000 less and 1 million plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no recipe on determining when and how much it's going to take to make you successful. So every artist is different. Every situation is different. The foundation may be the same. The system has been defined to work different artists through, and they have different levers that they can move. But ultimately, the talent and the music has to stand up at the end of the day.
I was just about to say, because part of me, I just watched this documentary on HBO. It's called Fake Famous, right? And it's where they did a social experiment on 3 people to make them influencers on Instagram. They just put a certain amount of dollars behind them, and they said, we can turn anybody into an influencer. Was that, can I turn anybody into a hip-hop star with 7 figures?
There have been people who've tried that before you, before Fake Famous. So once again, let's think about it. Lil Nas X, no disrespect to anything, right? But it didn't cost him that when he caught fire.
That's true,
right? We don't know what he spent, but we know he didn't spend $1 million.
Yeah.
We do know that,
yeah,
right? Ideally, because what? He had a song,
right?
And then he had a great campaign and being aggressive in the marketplace that caught that the rubber met the road and everything caught fire at that point. And then there are people who you don't know who've invested millions of dollars, right? That you just don't know who, bruh, they might have like 5,000 streams.
How does that conversation go with you as an exec, though? They spending millions of dollars, they ain't getting any traction, and you're the guy that's supposed to be over that getting traction and that money going to the right places to get it traction. How does that conversation go with you and an artist that just doesn't catch?
Well, ideally, it's truth. You have to be truthful. Because there's no way you can get around that there's no response. Now, if you're putting in the work, and you have a relationship with the artist, they see what you're doing. They may be unhappy with the results, but ultimately, you know what? We got you the music. We recorded your music. We got your video. We took you to radio. We put you on the DSPs. Right? We put you on the road.
Nobody gets jiggy with the shit, though.
They just don't like you, bro. It's them. It's never about, ultimately, people don't want to accept the truth when they're not prepared to be honest with themselves.
That's real.
Especially when you're in the creative space, it's difficult because there's a connection, there's a value. You're close to it, and ideally in your mind you may believe that I've done my best, and you might have done your best. It's just not translating to the masses.
Yeah.
Are you surprised a lot? Like, do you see artists and you think from a professional and expertise like that's not gonna work, and then 12 weeks later you're like, well, he's #1 on the charts?
Well, it really doesn't happen like that.
Okay.
Right? But
Break it down.
But ultimately, what's been able for me to be consistent in the business is there are some things which makes you an expert that your gut, your heart, your professionalism, what you've seen, and you can pick those. And then there are things you have to remove yourself and understand that it can happen without you. So I'm not going to be the one that's going to stand in the way. If you say, I know this is the one, so I need to do everything that I need to do to make sure that it gets the opportunity, because you're going to miss some, you're going to get some, but ultimately, it's the people who decide whether they're going to respond and react. Not the executive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know you've been a part of a lot of careers, a lot of big names that we've seen work, whether it's over at Def Jam or at Epic. Was there an artist that you felt really good about, but it just never really connected? and you were like, well, you know what I mean, it just from one reason or another. But you were a personal fan of like but it just for whatever reason it didn't hit.
You know you're wrong for that question. Right?
I was just about to say,
I can give one.
I see the look on his face.
Now, hold on. Now, you know,
he was hurt.
Hold on. I want to get through it. I'm going to get through the answer, but you know you wrong for that question.
He was hurt by that, boy.
You just wrong for that.
The question hurt him.
I'm just saying. You say you win some, you lose some.
So of course. So let's even take it back to early in my career. There was a group in Atlanta, which was the first group I actually ever signed. They were actually from Macon, Field Mob.
Oh yeah, I love Field Mob. Yeah,
I signed them.
Word.
Nice. And I thought they would have been far more than what they actually ended up being. Not that they're not talented; they're super talented. But it just, you know, when you put it all in the gumbo, it just didn't. Yeah. It didn't make it the way it was supposed to. But both of them were stars. The music was tight, but you know, things just don't. The stars and the moons don't line up.
Yeah.
And you know, so for me, I thought that they would have had, you know, a longer shelf life.
Agreed. Hey, listen, they got my $13.99. That first album was crazy. Like
crazy, B.
Yeah, it was
nuts. Yeah. It was nuts. But see, that's the point. That's the point.
Yeah. I know you've got big things going on right now with D-Verse. We're gonna get into that. You got the book on deck. I do want to take it back just a little bit though. At your time at Epic and Def Jam and your over these careers, is there a common denominator with these stars that makes them stars? What is it about them that they're successful? And is there any type of common thread between any the people that you work with?
Absolutely. The people who are stars aren't stars by chance. They work really hard at it. There's a difference between people who have a little bit of talent and may have an engine that can only push them but so far, as opposed to the artists that really have that gift. Their work ethic is insane. Every single person who's on top works really, really hard at it, whether you see it or not. I remember just staying consistent with this conversation. Like I've never seen anybody record like Future in my life. Like nobody, he's who he is because of who he is. Like dude is a recording monster. That's why he's successful.
The universe will pay you back for your work. Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. What is it, 10,000 hours?
Yep, yeah. 10,000 hours. Yeah. That's what we're working on. Let me ask you, though. You said from that, you're leaving the music business, right? You're getting into tech. You're getting into the book world. And one of the quotes from the interviews I saw, you said there are no old black execs in the music business. I see old white men in hip-hop all the time. So I want to know what's the difference and what makes you say that.
I mean, I'm only stating what's obvious. So I'm not making it up. You know, a lot of these companies are public. You can go read the names and figure out the Johnsons, how many Johnsons and Smiths, right? You know, that at the top, Williams, right? Like how many of them are there, right? In public companies, so you can see that. But ideally, part of it is that we've kind of lost our way in realizing what our value was and our contribution to music. So ultimately, you know, the power for African Americans in the music business early and current day was the independent labels. The indies had the power, and the indies was, you know, an offshoot to a lot of things. They fed the majors because, you know, it's a different eye and identifying talent and just raw and grit. You know, you can go through all of the different companies that were indie, and ultimately was also a breeding ground for amazing, you know, black talent. A lot of great executives came out of the independent system as well. And unfortunately for us, you know, we play the young man game. Like, you know, we don't never want our hair to be gray. You know, we don't never want the little belly. You know, we always gotta be hot. We gotta be current. You know, I gotta be in the club. Gotta be in the club. I gotta be lit. So you never actually really allow yourself to season right? As everyone else, others do in the business. But that's only from, a social perspective. I think what's also important is that we've not allowed ourselves, or we haven't had the true opportunity one way or the other to learn the value of the business, because we're not shown a lot. You only get through, it's only very few people that get through all the doors, right?
Mhm.
So that's part of the reason why, our longevity or our shelf life isn't as valuable, because if you can only get to stage 5, you know what, as you go through each level, your price goes up, but you really not doing more than what you was doing, a little bit more than what you was doing, but you're more expensive. So you know what, I'm gonna start with the new young boy. He gonna do the same thing, and he gonna ask for less. Right? He cool with it because it's his shot. And then he gonna run. Then he gonna get on the wheel as you move me off. He gonna get on the wheel and he gonna run a little bit, right?
And then he gonna see what you saw.
He gonna get to right where you was at and move over. Here come a new young boy, as opposed to, all right, we got to figure this out and make sure that we have full representation across the board in all things, and ideally, where we sit now, we just have to be smarter in our choices. And there's nothing wrong with corporate. There's nothing wrong with the opportunities, but ultimately the value is going to come in the ownership aspect, as things are starting to, go more independent first.
So this is an independent hip hop entity right here. As
right.
Someone in the music executive field, what would be your suggestion for podcast or growing space for an independent entity like ours to move forward?
Everything's about ownership, man. Don't run for the buck. So, like you guys told me, I was so impressed and thoroughly impressed in the conversation. You guys been doing podcasts before podcasts were podcasts.
Facts. Let them know. We ain't gonna stop you.
So ideally, right? Think about this. And I don't know your economics. I don't know anything. Let's just stay in the hypothetical lane. If you guys had you started in 2013. So if in 2015, when things started going, you sold 50% of your company. Guess what? Because you know what? Yo, that would have been enough. Both y'all would have got, somebody would have got the Benz, somebody would have got the Beamer, right? But you lost half of it. But that's cool. You're still working for the half. Now, 2018 come, y'all go, guess what? I want to get a house. Because your value's going up. Y'all at 400 episodes. Yo, let's give up another 15%. Now we can just get a little more trinkets. But then in 2020, podcast value's insane.
Facts.
Because you had no foresight, right? You got caught up in the things. You got caught up in the moment. You're not thinking about what is my exit strategy in this? And how hard can we hold on to what we've created? And ultimately in business for us, we got to stop taking shorts. So whether it's podcasts, whether it's music, whether it's real estate, whatever, in business, stop taking shorts. We have to have long-term vision. And once you have that, you're going to do better business.
I like it.
Because sacrificing is really the payoff.
Facts.
I can dig it. Speaking of exit strategy, you created one of your own when you left Roc Nation with this D-Verse. Talk to me. What is this D-Verse? What is a distribution company? Talk to me.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So do two things. I've signed an artist. Her name is Paris Gatlin out of Jackson, Mississippi. Amazing pop songstress. Also, I offer independent artists opportunities to keep their masters and do licensing deals with them as well. So just being competitive in the space right now on identifying talent and giving artists an opportunity to live their dreams.
Nice. How do you find new artists? Like for an example, how did you discover? Is this all social media?
I'm still old school with it. Like somebody gonna call me with it, and you might miss it, but I see it. And actually, that's how I get a lot of them, well as I scrub.
So you still pulling up on people?
I still, it's a lot of different perspectives I have on listening and searching, and just like everybody else, they have their things, a little analytics, little fishing, yo, Lil Bubba, he might call. You know, it's no rhyme or reason, but being on the pulse is what's important. Now that you do have to stay youthful in staying connected to the music, you know, knowing what's coming out of the clubs, knowing what the kids is listening to, if you're in that aspect, you know, knowing what's hot on the performance circuit, right? Knowing what the value is of each different kind of artist and where they sit in their career. Is it time for them? Have they passed their time? You've been out for a minute, nothing has happened, you know, or you just starting, but I see that star quality in you. You just, you know, we just need to refine you and form you. So
you decided to step away and do your own thing right before the pandemic hit.
mm-hmm.
Did that have a positive or a negative impact on you running your own thing? Because I know the pandemic was good for a lot of people, even though it was obviously bad for others. How did it work out for you?
The pandemic was a reckoning for me. It put me in a place and space of really being in tune with myself. I've never been that quiet in my life outside of being in a hospital bed, an accident that nearly took my life, which I talk about in my book On Impact that's coming out the top of 2022. So what I was able to do was take that time, center, focus, make sure I'm aligned with my goals and my objectives. And now coming out of it, I feel that I'm on course.
Was there a influence that you based these moves off of, coming into the music business, your maturation from the music business, getting into the distribution, signing your own artists? Was there someone out there that you saw and you were like, that's the way I want to do things? Was this like you moving freestyle? What would you attribute your success? What would you attribute your motivation? What would you attribute your whole process to?
I mean, this isn't, you know, it's not like the BET Awards or the Oscars. So when I say, you know, I owe it all to God, right? I'm really serious. You know, like people say it so much, but it really is, for me, how I was able to maneuver and stay in the business of music or the businesses that I'm a part of is I'm heavily rooted in my foundation and my conviction, right? Regardless of the business that you're in, people need to believe who you are. You know, like this authenticity word is I don't think people go to layers deep into understanding what true authenticity is. What people see from me is what you get. If I say it, I'm going to do it. And that is a big indication of the value that you bring, because now people can trust you. They can trust what you say. They might not like what you say, but they can trust. They don't have to check up on you. You know, you're a check box and moving on. So how I've been able to move in this business is simply because, you know, I go hook and crook to staying consistent to my word.
That's dope. That's dope.
What was the motivation in leaving what seems to be a pretty cozy gig as a president of a big record label and kind of taking a risk, so to speak, and starting your own? Why was the time now to do that?
And I took risk every day of my life, right? From where I'm from, how I move, but more importantly, complacency. What most people may not know about me, I've left every company at the top of my game. Prior to that, right? Because for me, my next step is always, I see as my best step. When I feel that I'm at a point where I can do no more, I don't never want to be comfortable in that respect, because had I stopped, I could have been, you know, it's all relative. I could have been very comfortable a decade ago at the company that I was at, right? And I wouldn't be here with you guys.
Right.
So it depends on what you want. I don't want that. That's not what's going to push me forward. Right. And you can't be scared.
You got to jump.
You can't be scared, right? Like when you want to win, you got to listen. It's your shot.
Yeah.
Pull up. Or guess what? You know, be a spectator. Either way, you in the building. Whatever you choose to do.
That makes sense. So let me ask you then, waking up every day as a president of Roc Nation, doing your personal business, versus waking up every day independently now, how are the days different? Like, how are the phone calls different? How is the scheduling different? Or is it just the same thing, just new titles?
Life changes from independent and corporate,
Uh-huh.
but I look at it as, if it takes 3 years to break an artist, 5 years to really develop a business, I'm right on course on where I need to be on how to move forward. Because you can't do both. I can't be independent and corporate in the level of what I need to commit for myself at this point.
Right.
So ultimately, it's one or the other in the choices. And for me, stepping out on my own gives me the opportunities to now do things that I just can't do corporate. But as far as the phone calls, man, I'm on the phone all day, every day. See, I'm with y'all, right? Like, I ain't
hard time getting you,
we
man.
ain't running.
So
listen, I'm still gonna pull up. Now, listen, I'm still pulling up. Like, you don't pick up, I'm pulling up.
We definitely appreciate it.
Man, before we get you out of here, I know you've got another thing, a whole nother arm of the business on the real estate side of things. How'd you get into that, man? 100 doors, I read. I know that's a big number, man. How'd you get into that?
Well, when I grew up in a 5-family house, my parents had an apartment and a home, and we lived on the top floor, which is, we were laughing about it the other day. It was really the attic that was converted, right? Low roof. The roof might be 6 feet. Now, seven is probably 7. My pops is 6. Yeah, it's probably 7 feet, right? So what I realized, my dad, who's super genius, man, like, and just an amazing man with his hands and his mind, and looking at him with his freedom at being at the house. And my mother, she worked for the post office. So she had, we had our benefits and all of those things they taken care of through her job. And the lady who owned the house, when she was moving back to Kansas, gave my parents an opportunity to purchase the house. So she held the paper. She owned the house outright. Holding the paper as she was the bank. She held the paper and gave them an opportunity to purchase the house. And what that gave my parents, and most importantly, my father, the latitude and the freedom to, one, be with us, pursue what he wanted to pursue, do how he wanted to do. And the house paid for the bills, paid for itself, and put some money in their pockets. So the light bulb went off in my head as I started to make money. It's like, I want to be like my dad. I want to be able one day, he never looked stressed, because that money was coming either way. It's coming one way or another. And that's when I decided, when I first got into the music business, I started purchasing a property. So my first piece of property was a condo, bought multifamilies, buildings, and I even owned the city block at one point.
Damn.
And,
what city?
Hartford.
Okay.
Hartford, Connecticut. Hartford, Connecticut, on Park Street. So that was the catalyst for me, realizing the freedom that real estate gave me from watching my father, and the freedom that it gave him.
Nice. Hey, man, that's what's up, man. I told you, we spoke earlier off air. Listen, we're trying to get to that level right there. I like that. I like them 100 doors. I like that number. That's a smooth number. It's easy. Roll off the tongue, 100 doors. Before we get you out of here, though, man, most important question of the day. Hey, what's the food like at the Roc Nation brunch? Keep it real. Just keep it a stack. I know you got the NDAs and all that stuff. What the food like at the Roc Nation brunch, though? Is it as dope as it look?
That you just said, is it as dope as it looks? You've answered the question yourself, my brother.
All right. I feel you, though. I feel you, man. What else? Where can people follow you and what you got going on? If they want to get their hands on the book when it drops, they want to follow everything Benny got popping, where can they follow you?
You can, all my socials are Benny Pough, at Benny Pough, and my website is bennypough.com, BennyPough.com. You can purchase, get an early glimpse at On Impact, as well as see what I'm doing next.
Y'all go follow Benny. Keep it cracking. Did we miss anything that you want to hit on? Anything that you're promoting that you want the On Deck TV podcast listeners to know about?
That I'm coming back, man.
We look forward to this. We're gonna make this a reoccurring thing, man. We have fun.
Yo, Spike Lou, AB, I'm just telling y'all might have to open up, put me down, B. Like, listen.
Let's do it.
With a little slide. Yo, I ain't playing. I want to get in a little guest or something. Like, it's fly. I love what y'all doing, man. It's clean. I love it. I love it. And I'm proud of, seeing young Black men really, putting their time and commitment. It's kind of like what you asked me, is you're doing it yourself. Yeah. You guys are looking beyond, the immediacy of just having fun or, being swagged out or being overly hip hop. You're like, yo, you know what? We're creating a legacy, we're increasing our value. And at some point we want to cash out. So I love what y'all doing and you keep focused.
Disclaimer, that may or may not be used for promotional purposes. We won't promise you that it won't be, man. But we definitely appreciate those kind words, man. We want you to come back. We want to have fun and build this relationship out with you, man.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Take it easy, Benny. Hey, man, we are back on Deck TV show. We're trying to get in the habit of saying show.
Absolutely.
I know
on
it's
Deck
tough.
TV show. This is the show.
Yes.
Take the show on the road.
That was Benny Pough, man, former president of Roc Nation, Big Boy Gyms. Great energy. Great energy.
I loved it. He was so open and available and ready to talk about his experiences, man. That's what podcasting is all about right there, having guests like that. We appreciate you, Benny.
Absolutely, man. Y'all check out his book coming later this year. Make sure y'all check that out. We got some wins and some losses coming to you. We got an L going to Chopper City BG. He was unfortunately denied parole in his recent hearing. He is scheduled to now be released 2024 instead of this year, like a lot of people had hoped.
BG been locked up like 14 years on a gun charge in Kentucky right now. He was trying to get out early release, but the paperwork got in too late. The judge said, paperwork got in too late. They were considering him for a special release. I can't think of the name of it now, but the judge said, hey, I would have did it. It would have been cool, but your lawyer fucked up, buddy. So,
what? Yeah, whose heads rolls after that? Is the lawyer? So that's strictly on the lawyer. Is that what you're telling me?
It's what from what I read, it seemed that way. Now, if you're paying a lawyer, the heads are rolling. When nigga, I need my money back for a refund. Now, there are steps you can take if you get fucked over in court, though. Like, you can take a lawyer to court. The interest that a lawyer has in doing right by you is they're gonna lose their license.
Okay.
So if they get enough complaints against them and shit like this where, hey, man, I paid him my money and he didn't do this, then the court will bring them up for review and all of that good shit. I learned that on Better Call Saul. Shout out Better Call Saul.
Ready for that last season.
Fire.
Yes, sir. We've got a W going to Meg the Stallion. Shout out to the Houston Hottie. She is set to be on the cover of the latest Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. How many copies will you be buying?
That's a big W for the culture. Shout out to Meg. Even if we've seen it on the Instagrams and all the videos, it doesn't matter.
Never gets old.
Never gets old, man. Shout out to Meg, man. It's a big look, right?
I need the hard copy, the NFT, the digital copy, the iPad. I need all of them. I'm a fan.
Drop them.
Fuck it.
Frame them.
Sports Illustrated is still a big deal, though, right? That makes waves. That makes news.
Yeah, walking in saying I am a Grammy award-winning Sports Illustrated cover gracing artist goes a long way.
That's true.
The price just went up.
That's a
again.
Fact. Yeah.
Again.
No doubt, man. Now we have this is an awkward L.
2 L's, man.
Yeah, to Indian Red Boy, an artist out of L.A. who was shot on Instagram Live. He was allegedly responsible for defacing a Nipsey mural in L.A. Some people are connecting the two. I don't know. This is a very awkward L. You hate to see somebody so young. He was 21. But if what's alleged is true, you hate to say it. You're not really surprised.
Play dumb games, you win dumb prizes. That's that's one of the best quotes in life to go by. And I'm not dismissing this young man's death. This young man lost his life, but a lot of times people get caught up in social media stuff and think that they'll get a bigger return on some of the stuff that they do. Yeah, and the return ain't worth the risk.
No, it's not. And but what's interesting though is that And, you know, there's YouTube videos and shit, man. People doing their own investigations and all that. But the person who did the mural, who defaced it, there's a video of that, and they left the tag. And it wasn't dude, though. It was the person, ironically, the person he was talking to on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
When he got shot.
So he knows him.
Yeah. So they cool. Exactly. Yeah. So they know each other.
I mean, so
who knows?
Can't play around like that, man.
Yeah, nah. Hey, listen, just leave the Nipsey stuff alone in LA, y'all.
Stop. People
just chill out.
Like, whenever you get a chance and want to go down a rabbit hole, look at the backlash of what happened behind the Nipsey shit and the people that got shot and shit.
Yeah. It's deeper than rap.
Facts.
We have an On-Decker of the week. We are going to iTunes. When the last time we did that?
Appreciate it.
Man, listen, we have a comment. First of all, 5 stars. Thank you. It says, Hidden Gem, one of the best and informative podcasts about hip-hop. Glad I started listening recently. Appreciate you. They didn't leave a name, but we'll appreciate that. The name was incredibly fun and addicting. I don't know if that's us or them, but shout out to them.
I'll take it all day and twice on Sundays.
You got something to put me on, man? I need something too. Give me something good.
Book or TV show? Which would you prefer?
Give me the book.
Man,
I need a good book.
Do you watch 60 Minutes?
Every once in a while.
The guy on 60 Minutes yesterday, man.
Ed Bradley?
No, his name was Colson Whitehead.
Okay.
And he wrote a book called The Nickel Boys that this one didn't win the Pulitzer Prize. He wrote also The Underground, the new show that came out.
On WGN?
Yeah, whatever show about the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
It's based off his book. He won the Pulitzer Prize for that book being Book of the Year.
Okay.
But that's not the put on. The put on is his other book called The Nickel Boys. It's based in the Jim Crow South. It's almost like the movie Life.
Okay.
But they're young teenage kids. Just started listening to Audible. Fire. He's a really good author. So the name of it is called The Nickel Boys.
But you don't like movies like that, though.
Do not like movies like that. Like the book, though. I definitely don't like movies.
So is it a true story?
This is not a true story.
Okay, gotcha.
It's not a true story.
Gotcha.
The Underground Railroad book, like you said, I don't really want to hear. They said it's great.
You don't want to hear your real history.
No, they said it's great. I just don't want to start there. I would prefer doing another one. I got another put on about the Underground Railroad and its existence, but that's another story. A TV show, though, something lighter than that, if you're looking, is Counterpart with J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, he bodying that shit, too.
Did
he played
that?
2 different people. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen season 1.
You ain't seen season?
It fell off, bro.
Person that told me that.
I fell off it strong. It
Really?
fell off strong.
Couldn't you watch all of season 1, right?
Yeah.
And you left and
Dipped.
didn't watch season 2 with the cliffhanger?
Didn't come back.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
He bodying that
The
shit,
whole
though.
he bodied the whole season 1 based like I have to see season 2 based off how you don't remember how it ended, do you?
I don't know.
I knew it. You don't know. Like if you remember how it ended, you want to see season 2.
Big skip.
You want to see season 2.
I have a put on. We're going to YouTube. Shout out to Migos. They executive produced a documentary called Ice Cold, the untold story of hip hop jewelry. I watched it over the weekend. Very well put together. It's split up into 4 parts. They're about 15 minutes apiece. Very easy watch. Shout out to QC. Shout out to P. Shout out to Coach K. They executive produced it. Very, very dope. It showed it from all different perspectives, from the artists, the history, the jewelers. It's very dope, man. I was thoroughly impressed. They put that together, man. Shout out to, it's Ice Cold. It's on YouTube right now. It's a YouTube original.
Definitely checking that out as soon as I get home.
You a jewelry person?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm
not a jewelry person, but this shit interesting as fuck, though.
I'm not a big gaudy jewelry person. I like jewelry, but I want like a lot of it.
You want rings and 4-finger rings and shit?
No, I'm good. I ain't getting the spike glue on my spelled out across my palms at all. I tell you what though, the best podcast you're not listening to is at No Ceilings, Glasses Malone.
You've been talking about that for 3 weeks in a row.
The best podcast that you guys probably aren't listening to is that one. Glasses is a beast, man.
Nah, he's good.
Glasses is a beast. And also the Vince Staples album. I meant to tell people, that's the best album of the year so far.
Nah,
on that note. It's better than, only thing it might be not better than is that 42 Dub.
Oh, my God.
I'm telling you, that Vince Staples is banging. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
That shit's fire.
Every new listener we just had left.
God, that shit. Well, they don't like Vince Staples? Sayonara,
They don't like cold takes.
Sayonara, sucker. That's the album of the year. Easy.
The 42 Doug is not.
That's in the conversation for me. But the Vince Staples, you can't deny. I could understand you hating on Doug because you ain't in his lane, but that Vince Staples undeniable.
That Vince Staples banging.
That's
though.
undeniable.
No, that's banging.
That's 22 minutes of fire.
That's quick though. That's not even a Madden half.
You have to be a certain long to get considered for album of the year. Shit, it got to be a certain length. Don't it?
It's long enough though. Pause.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, 22 minutes?
Yeah.
You sure?
That's longer than an EP. How many songs? It's like 10.
Yeah, it is like 10 songs, but half of them skits.
That's true. It might not be
That
considered.
Vince, man, check that Vince Staples out.
Might be
man. That
excluded.
shit
Sorry,
good.
Vince.
That skit at the end, the voicemail.
That was hard.
Oh man, that shit fire.
That was hard. Hey, man, another episode in the books, another interview in the books. Be on the lookout, man. We're going to look to talk to a whole lot more influential people in this rap game. We appreciate the feedback that we got from Oubre.
Chad.
Well, definitely appreciate the feedback, all of that.
Let us know who y'all want us to interview. If there are names that you want to see on the OndeckTV podcast, just shoot it to us. Leave it in the comments. Get in contact the way you know how to get in contact with us, because we're definitely open to hear it and going to go through the proper channels to get them on here and get you guys what you want from the OndeckTV show.
There it is, man. And on that note, we out.
Yep.